Okay, today's video, we're going to focus on the leg spring or the spring to the side. It's basically that diagonal step through to the right hand side or the left hand side that you see Mike Tyson do all the time. It's actually one of the 5 concepts of Peekaboo boxing is getting to the side of your opponent. Remember, you want to get to a position to where you can safely hit your opponent but not get hit. And like I said in previous videos, it's not bulletproof. Just because I get to the side of my opponent doesn't mean my opponent, I'm 100% can't get hit. All right, there's always opportunities. Okay, fighting is fighting. There's always an opportunity to get hit. Okay, so when he's in front of me, he's just going to get in the stance. So from the outside, remember, every boxing match starts on the outside, and you got to work your way in. The goal of Peekaboo is to go from the outside to get to the inside and then to the side of my opponent. Okay, getting to the side of my opponent. And there's several ways you can do that. Okay, number one is, let's say, just for the sake of time, I'm just going to work my way in. Let's say I get in. Okay, when I'm in close to my opponent, I can move my head to the either side. Or I can do what we call a leg spring. A leg spring is just a diagonal step through with the leg, the same leg, and goes in the same direction of travel. Okay? So if I'm going to go to the left, my left hand side, his right hand side, I'm going to step through with my left leg. And remember, when I drive, I want to be explosive. I'm going to drive off that rear foot. So when I'm here, all right, I'm going to push off that rear foot and spring to the side. See how both legs work? It's called a leg spring. All right, I'm here, I'm going to drive off that foot, spring to the side. Okay, it's just like a little hop. Very hop, like a hop. It's very similar to movement. They're short, explosive movements as the twist. Remember the twist? Okay, I did another video on it. So, starting at this position, I'm going to spring to the side. And we'll see how I'm in this position here. I'm facing this way now. Okay, so let's go and back up just a little bit, come forward. Okay, so when I'm in this position, what I'm going to do is pivot on that lead foot and into a left hand punch. Okay, it can be anything. A hook. All right, when I'm on the side here, it can be a hook to the head. A number 1 can be a hook to the body. A number 5 can be an uppercut, which is a number 3. Or if I'm a little farther out, it can be a jab. Number 7. Okay, so one more time. Here, I'm going to remember your Peekaboo stance is lower, a little more crouched. Okay, I'm going to bend the knees, keep the knees bent, and I'm going to spring, drive off to the side, and rotate into my punch. Again, I'm going to spring, rotate. Again, spring, rotate. All right, I got to rotate. When I land here, this foot is up on the ball of the foot. This one's flat. When I rotate, that one drops. This one pivots and rotates into my punch. Okay, so that's the left-hand side. Now, if I want to go to my right-hand side, I'm going to step through with my right leg. Okay, so remember, if I'm going left, I step with the left. If I'm going right, I step through with the right. All right, so I'm here. I'm going to spring. I'm going to drive off that lead foot. Lead foot. I'm going to push off and spring. I'm going to land low with my knees bent. And see how this heel is up? This heel is up. And then I'm going to shift my body, drop this heel, raise this heel, and that's what gives me the power. I can go with 2 to the head. If I'm farther away, I'll use a cross, 2. If I'm close, I'll use a 2, that's a hook. Or I can use a 4, uppercut. Or I can use that body hook, number 6. Okay? So again, I'm in front of my opponent. I'm going to spring to the side and hit. Now, what you can keep in mind is the distance that you spring to the side. For example, if I go to the left-hand side, I can spring out farther to create space, or I can spring closer where I'm jamming my opponent. Here, that's when I can really work those inside combinations. Same thing on the right-hand side. I can go out and turn, or I can cut it the angle close where I can work those combinations. The one thing you want to keep in mind that if I go to the left-hand side, I throw the left. If I go to the right hand side, I throw the right. Because you're preloading that punch. What I'm not going to do is go here and then try to punch like that. There's no power. For me to get power in my right hand when I spring to the side, I'll have to do a twist and then fire the right hand shot. Okay? So you can use these combinations of footwork. Okay? So I can spring and fire, or I can spring, twist, and fire with the opposite hand. Okay? So the official name, you see a lot of people on YouTube, they call it a shift, a step through, a diagonal step through. I don't know the exact name, but with watching all the videos of Customato, Kevin Rooney, Kevin Rooney especially, he says spring to the side, or step to the side, get to the side. I hear him say spring to the side. So that's why I call it the spring, leg spring, because it's a quick bouncy movement, all right? But I can just step too. I can just step and fire, all right? But usually because it's peekaboo, my opponent, because I'm being aggressive and elusive, my opponent starts backpedaling, circling, running. And when he does that, I gotta be more explosive to get on the inside. Okay, so how do I set it up? Remember, I could be on the outside here and spring here and throw a long hook. Okay, but usually if you're gonna do a leg spring, you wanna get him looking at something first. Okay, I just don't want to, if we're sparring, I just don't want to go hook, even though you can. Okay, but against a really good boxer, that's probably not going to work. So what I'm going to do is, let's say I step in with the 7-2, boom, boom, get him looking at something, then spring to the side, boom, boom, throw a 2-1-2. Okay, or I come in, I go boom, boom, and uppercut, spring to the side, throw the 2. Same thing with the left. Okay, maybe I step in 1-2, not the 1-2, 7-2, here, spring to the side, then do it. I'm going to distract them. It's almost like a SWAT team before they enter a building. They throw those flashbang grenades. Boom, boom, stun the opponent, and then they break the door down and come in and start shooting. Okay? Same thing, I'm going to flash him, get him thinking I'm coming straight in, and then spring to the side and throw my combination. The one thing I found that makes it hard in sparring is a lot of times you want to just throw one punch. You want to get in a habit of throwing combinations, punches and bunches. So if I spring, if I get him looking at the jab and I spring here, I'm going to always try to throw combinations. Okay? So, just a quick review. If I'm going to drive off that rear foot. If I go to the left-hand side, I drive with the left leg. And then I pivot into my punches. Remember, you got to have proper mechanics. If I go to the right-hand side, I'm going to step through with the right leg and then pivot. Pivot. Okay? So the leg spring is definitely different than a twist. A twist is used when you're already close, in close. Where I'm here, see how this hand is jammed? I twist, and it creates that space to free that hand up and to get to the side. Okay, that's one of the concepts of peekaboo, is getting off to the side of my opponent, where I can hit him and he can't hit me. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. That is the video peekaboo footwork drill, the leg spring left and right.